Life After Parental Alienation by J. Claude McDaniel. Welcome to Life After Parental Alienation, Part 2.
Let's talk denial. Waiting for the phone to ring. Believing the situation will fix itself. Like so many others, you spend months in confusion before the truth finally takes shape, before you realize you have been completely cut off from the people you loved. The same people you supported, showed up for, sacrificed for. Every game. Every event. Every milestone. You were there. And then, something shifts. You feel it before you understand it. The distance. The silence. The change in tone. Their excitement about their lives, their accomplishments, their happiness, no longer reaches you. You're no longer included. No calls. No messages. No shared joy. And somehow, it becomes your fault. You are made to feel as though you didn't care enough. That you didn't reach out. That you didn't celebrate them. But how do you celebrate what you were never told? How do you show up for moments that were hidden from you? So you wait. You wait for the phone to ring. You replay conversations in your mind. You question yourself over and over again. Were they told that you already knew? That you chose not to respond? That you didn't care? Who would believe that about you? Or worse, did they come to believe it? You start to see it, the possibility that this wasn't sudden at all. That it was built slowly, quietly, over time. Word by word. Doubt by doubt. Until the people you love no longer see you as you are, but as someone else entirely. And still, you wait. Feeling betrayed by the alienating parent, family, and systems. If your experience mirrors mine, then the anger didn't come right away. First, there were months, maybe years, of believing the lie. Believing that your alienator was being civil, cooperative, even kind, for the sake of the children. You played your role. You showed up. You kept the peace. You did more than that, you gave. You worked. You helped. You contributed without hesitation. You didn't just attend events, you built them. You funded them. You made them possible. You hauled, cleaned, fixed, paid, and prepared. You put your hands into that life. Maybe you built something real, like a wooden swing set for your grandchildren, because you knew you lived too far away to be present every day. So you left a piece of yourself there. Maybe you scrubbed years of neglect off patios and pool decks so others could gather, celebrate, laugh, so your grandchild's birthday would be perfect. You were there. And then, somehow, you became the villain. How does that happen? How do years of showing up, giving, sacrificing, get rewritten into something ugly? Then it hits you. No one saw it. No one saw what you did. Not really. Not in a way that mattered. Because the only voice they heard wasn't yours. What were they told when you weren't in the room? What stories were whispered through those fake teardrops and handkerchiefs? What version of you was performed so convincingly that it erased everything you ever did? Were the old lies brought back to life? That you were abusive. That you complained about everyone. That you gave nothing. That you were the problem. And the rage comes then, not all at once, but like a slow burn that finally finds air. Because it's not just Betra. Y'all. It's eras. Your reality doesn't bend. It doesn't soften. It doesn't go back and correct the record. What happened, happened. And sometimes, no matter how honest your intentions were, the circumstances align against you anyway. In my case, everything began to collapse during the isolation of the COVID-19 pandemic. I believed the conversations with my alienator mattered. Emails. Phone calls. Words spoken carefully, respectfully. I thought I was being heard. I thought my decision, not to take the shots, was understood, even if not agreed with. I believed my concern for my children, living near her, meant something. I believed I was still part of the conversation. I even convinced myself that my thoughts, my reasoning, my warnings, what I believed to be insight, were being passed along honestly to the people we both loved. That they were hearing me, even when I wasn't there. Looking back now, that belief feels almost unbearable. Because now you know how it works, you were not being represented. You were being rewritten. And all you can do in this same circumstance is hope, quietly, helplessly, that no one pays the price for decisions made in your absence. Then came the invitations. Late in the pandemic, I was asked to come to Pennsylvania. A graduation. A christening. Milestones I should have been part of without question. I was even excluded from mutual planning. But there were conditions. Every one of my children demanded that I be COVID tested. Proof sent ahead. Clearance granted before I could even arrive. And in that moment, something breaks open. Because now you see the possibilities for what they are. Either you were seen as infected, Or you were seen as unclean, not trusted, not believed, not safe, marked for erasure. And the question burns, were others required to prove themselves the same way? Dozens of people attended those events. I doubt they were all held to the same standard. I sat at a restaurant table, paying the restaurant tab, surrounded by people shoulder to shoulder, one coughing, another sniffling, while I was the one who had to prove I belonged there. How does that make sense? It doesn't. Unless the story they were told about you was never the truth to begin with. So, you ask yourself the questions that don't go away. What were my children told? Who had I been reduced to in their minds? What was said, over and over, until it replaced me? Because these aren't random misunderstandings. These are strategies. These are weapons. And by the time you see them for what they are, the damage is already due. Experiencing grief similar to losing a child to death. It sounds brutal to say it out loud. But it feels like death. Not theirs, yours. Because in their eyes, you're gone. Erased. Replaced. Rewritten into someone they no longer recognize, or worse, someone they've been taught not to love. And you sit there trying to understand how that's even possible. You were there. You showed up. Every time. You didn't disappear on them. You didn't fail them. You paid what you were supposed to pay, and more than that. You gave your time, your energy, your life. You went the extra mile when no one asked you to. And still, it wasn't enough. If you're older, like I am, it hits differently. This isn't just distance. This isn't just a disagreement. This is abandonment. Complete elderly abandonment. Silence where there used to be life. And it was built, piece by piece, by someone who knew exactly what they were doing. A teardrop at the right moment. A handkerchief. A story told just convincingly enough. And others believed Not all of them were malicious. Some were misled. Some were manipulated. But in the end, it didn't matter. They became part of it. They helped seal it. They helped close the And you're left on the outside of your own life. The damage doesn't stop at heartbreak. It goes deeper. It rewires trust. It poisons memory. It plants something inside you that doesn't go away. You start questioning everything, people, intentions, even yourself. And what was done to your children, what was placed into their minds about you, that may never fully come out. That's the part that stays. That's the part that makes this feel not just cruel, but something dark. Something calculated. Something that, at its core, feels heavy. Why most people cannot understand the pain of alienation. This is the part no one tells you about. The silence doesn't just come from your children. It comes from everyone. The people who stood around it, who watched pieces of it unfold, who heard things that didn't quite add up, but chose not to look closer. They go on with their lives like nothing happened. Because to them, nothing did. They don't feel it. They don't carry it. They don't wake up to it. And they certainly don't take responsibility for it. They took the bait. And not just a little, they swallowed it whole. Every word. Every accusation. Every carefully crafted lie, hook, line, and sinker. Not because they were evil. Because they didn't know what they were looking at. Most people have never encountered a true narcissist, someone who can cry on command, distort reality without hesitation, and repeat a lie until it becomes someone else's truth. So they believe it. Why wouldn't they? It sounds convincing. It feels real. It's delivered with just enough emotion to shut down doubt. And over time, it works. Little by little, they are conditioned. The story is repeated, reinforced, adjusted, until any instinct they had, that something felt off, something wasn't right, is worn down. Until questioning it feels unnecessary. Until believing it feels natural. And by then, it's too late. Because now you're not just separated. You're alone. This ends Part 2. Please like and subscribe for future parts.